Let's make some noise. Come on.
Yeah, yes, indeedy, Nick Foles. Let's make some noise, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome in on our Tuesday night edition of The Final Word here on the Instagram Sports Network. Your boy MattyB on the call, and you have landed in the middle of a twofer. That's because I have the distinct responsibility and privilege to be part of the post-game coverage of the Flyers game tonight. A 3-2 loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets. As every loss matters at this point, and this is a crushing loss to the Flyers. That absolutely is. They needed this win. Columbus is one of the teams they're chasing, and this hurts. This hurts. I'm not saying this is the death roll, and I'm not saying their playoff hopes have been extinguished, but their playoff hopes got a little bit less tonight, as they weren't actually playing with a full deck to begin with. So, we're going to transition about 45 minutes into this program into some Clear the Ice as we'll break down the comings and goings of that game. Just a listful game offensively for the Flyers again tonight. Defensive breakdowns that led to really a period in, I believe it was the second period where Columbus scored back-to-back goals within a minute or so from each other, which really kind of was the difference in this one tonight. So we will get into Clear the Ice later on. But we got a cornucopia of fun to get into tonight as we are continuing to keep an eye on the one step closer aspect of the baseball season. We are literally less than 24 hours away from the start of the 2026 Major League Baseball season. Tomorrow night at sometime between 7 and 8 o'clock. I don't really know exactly when. I know it's prime time. Don't know really what they consider prime time anymore, but tomorrow night, the Yankees will face it off and start it all off against the San Francisco Giants, kicking off the 2026 season. Then everybody else, minus 6 teams, will play on Thursday, and then the rest of the 6 that didn't play on Thursday, along with the Yankees and the 49ers and the Giants, will play on Friday as we'll get the season going. And as we went on a rant last night about the criminality and negligence of the Phillies lineup, we're gonna, if you want to continue that conversation, I'm more than happy to. But we can get into other aspects of this, and I would like to kind of peel some other layers of this team back in 2026. I'd like to remind a few people out there about the, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, and I'm not going to sit here. Listen, I want to be very clear with this right now. I am not opening tonight on this show. I'm not opening up my own branch of Big Al's Excuse Emporium. I'm not doing that. The Excuse Emporium is closed tonight, but I am going to give out some very, I think, very fair and very accurate statements about a Major League Baseball season. That I don't consider excuses. I really don't. But we'll get into some more Phillies talk tonight, of course, as that is the main topic. The main topic tonight, as it will probably be the main topic until sometime in, hopefully early November. Again, Eagles news. They're busy signing more players. Elijah Moore ain't really moving the needle at all, but he's going to be an Eagle. If you want to talk Eagles, we'll talk Eagles. It's fine. Not going to stop you. But that's not necessarily what the pulse of the sports world is on right now. Of course, the Flyers, we'll spend a lot of time in Clear the Ice discussing what happened tonight down there at the arena. A huge loss. A loss that they really could not afford at the hands of the Blue Jackets. So we'll get more into them. We will do our of the night segment tonight. Been putting that off for the last 2 nights. We'll do it. We won't do a card review because we're going to do the post game. So we will do the other night segment, and that'll probably be the segue to the post game show as as we'll kind of get that going. Hey Adam, what's up? What's up? Let's go Phillies. Yeah, Adam, could you expand upon that? I want to, and I'm being honest. What do you mean by let's go Phillies? Because the main topic tonight, what's the title of the show? It's twofer time, right? And that's the main topic. But the topic within the topic tonight is the alleged, or not the alleged, but the real hype to the start of the baseball season. And it's real. It's a real thing, and it deserves to be a real thing because just like the start of every season, any season of any team, there's all this expectation. And where do you draw this expectation from? And we'll speak specifically of the Phillies. You're drawing it from what? And these are questions that I'm posing to the audience. Where are these expectations being drawn from? Right? Every team, every city, every level has expectations for their team. Some of them are realistic, some of them are unrealistic. But they all come from a place, somewhere, some type of something you saw, the fan base has experienced, moves that were made, performance perhaps in spring training, somewhere, something, somehow. People draw their expectations for upcoming seasons. And I'm going to pose the question tonight, and it's a very open-ended question. I'm not leading anybody down a primrose path here. I'm asking an honest question. Let's go Phillies is a correct statement. It is let's go Phillies because it's that time of the year. It's a beautiful time of the year. It's the best time of the year ever. But where are the expectations being drawn from the Philadelphia Philly faithful for the Phillies in 2026? I would like to know because I want to have a stark, frank conversation about those expectations. I want to talk about where we're pulling them from. Because I'm going to present to you, as I typically do, the other side of that tomato. So we'll get into that. That's going to be our lead conversation tonight. But before we start, let's do like we do every single evening on this show. Let's talk about our day in Philadelphia sports history. Before I do that, I want to share a little bit about our upcoming schedule. Again, tomorrow you'll have the Pittsburgh Sports Desk and me. And as far as I go, and this show, the final word goes, a little programming note about it as we kind of navigate at least over the next 2 weeks or so. With the Flyers, again, tonight hurt in a lot of different ways. It really did. But we're still doing Clear the Ice this week. And the week-to-week Clear the Ice probationary period still exists. If the Flyers get at least 1 point this week, we'll come back next week for Clear the Ice. But at some point here pretty soon, I got to make a decision about what I'm doing with that program. But we haven't reached that point yet. So with say a Flyer deep, or not deep, but like say the Flyers keep things interesting up until the very end of the season, which for this year, because of the Olympic break, doesn't end until about mid-April. There's going to be some sacrifices have to be made with other shows and other type of time slots in order to sort of meet the supply and demand of post-game obligations with the Phillies as well. So the final word is going to suffer a little bit over the next couple of weeks, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I'm a big fan of. I like to believe I'm a big fan of quality over quantity. And I don't necessarily have to be validated with seeing myself on the air 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. I don't need to see that. So I'm going to end up taking a lot of time away from the final word in order to do post games. So tomorrow we will do another final word, but that will be it. That is our final word of our broadcast week. And as it stands right now, because Thursday I'm on post game with Al for the Phillies. Friday we're not on the air. Saturday we're not on the air. And because of post-game obligations on Sunday, the final word will not be seen on Sunday this week. The final word will return on Monday. I want to get this right because I just did the schedule tonight. We'll come back Monday. But then there will not be a show Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. And I think we're back on Thursday. Yeah, we're back on Thursday for a twofer. So the final word is going to get a little bit of it's going to get a little thin as we kind of navigate these waters until at least the Flyers kind of figure what they're going to be this year. So just a little programming note that everybody can kind of get ready for. So the final word will suffer a little bit over the next couple of weeks, but you'll be seeing enough of me, and I just don't need you to see like all that of me. You know, I got to have a life of some sort. So this is our schedule for the rest of this week. Tomorrow, you got the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. You got me. And then on Thursday, our big day, we'll get it started around 1 o'clock, 12:50 to be exact, as we'll rebroadcast our Phillies 2026 season preview show, the Fighting's Final Season 5 show. That'll lead you right up to game time, Phillies Rangers, which will then lead you right back here for the post-game Phillies Rangers. And then a little bit later on Thursday night, if you hadn't had enough of Phillies, we'll finish it off with some Flyers Blackhawks post game. On Friday, the Philly Friday Frenzy will return because we don't have any Phillies baseball on Friday. Then on Saturday, we're back at it on the post game factory. The best of the week of the It's a Wrap Sports will be followed by some Phillies Rangers post game and some Flyers Red Wings post game. Sunday, we'll wrap it and do it all again. Philly AM Sports, Phillies Rangers post game, and Flyers Stars post game. Again, a little programming note: there is no final word Thursday or Sunday, as post game obligations are going to be taking me everywhere. And as of next week, I can report to you that Monday we'll have a final word. There'll be no final word on Tuesday or Wednesday, and we'll return on Thursday. So again, the final word is going to take a hit a little bit, but it is what it is. We got to do what we got to do. So there's your week in advance. The rest of this week, let's get into our day in Philadelphia sports history. Let's strap in, strap on, strap up. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. And here we go. On this day in 1979, the Penn Quakers met the Michigan State Spartans, led by Magic Johnson, in the Final Four of the men's college basketball tournament. Penn won its 8th Ivy League title in 10 years, but the NCAA tournament was a different machine altogether. Although Penn was once a powerhouse in men's basketball as early adopters of the game from the late 1800s through the 1920s, it was overmatched in a modern NCAA Division I tournament format, with the Quakers' 79 effort being the lone exception. No Ivy League team has ever won the NCAA tournament. So Penn's Final Four game against Michigan State was an accomplishment that far overshadowed their 101-67 loss to Michigan State and the Magic Johnson-led Spartans. The magical run with the wins over Iona, top seed of North Carolina, Syracuse, and St. John's gave Penn its second Sweet 16 berth and first Final Four berth in team history. So congratulations to the Penn Quakers on this night back in 1979, getting all the way to the Final Four before bowing out to Magic Johnson and the Spartans of Michigan State. And there you have your day in Philadelphia sports history. Brought to you by our show that we're getting ready to get back going Thursday. There it is. The fight is final, back on the air. Me and Al have you Thursday. Mike has you Saturday, and I will be back on Sunday delivering the best quality of Phillies postgame show this side of the Mississippi. So make sure you're there. What's going on, Bruce? How you doing? Good to see you. MattyB, I hope you are doing good. I'm doing good, Bruce, and I hope the same for you. I do hope that you're doing well as well. Now that we got all the pleasantries out the way, let's get down to some business. Bruce says he's excited for the Phillies in MLB again. Bruce, I echo that sentiment. I agree. I am excited for the Phillies, and I am also excited for Major League Baseball. This is more than just an opening day, right, Bruce? I don't know where you come out on this, but to me, this is a national holiday. This always has been a national holiday for as long as I can remember. And I don't know why the country just doesn't get around to making it a national holiday. Nobody should have to work. Nobody should have to go to school on the opening day of baseball. Everybody should have the opportunity to flock to their local MLB park and support their team at least that one day of the year. And I hope one day somebody gets enough gumption to make it a national holiday, because it really deserves to be one. But it means even that much. It means even more to me, Bruce. I look at the first day of baseball, and I know tomorrow technically is the opener. Tomorrow night, the Giants will play the Yankees, so technically tomorrow baseball will start. But the majority of the schedule won't get going until Thursday, and it'll be going around 1 o'clock. Actually, I think around 12 o'clock, and it will run all the way through till 10 o'clock tomorrow night, as you'll be having quadruple headers, triple headers on all kinds of different streaming services. I remember last year, I'll never forget this as long as I live. So I have the MLB app where it gives me, I pay for all the games, right? Every game, every team. And on the one day out of the year, you expect the MLB app to work, which would be opening day. The app crashed last year on opening day. I'll never forget this. The game it wasn't at 3 o'clock. I think it was like a 2 o'clock start out in DC last year. And I remember getting ready to get on the game, and I couldn't get onto the app. And I was like, what the hell? So I kept trying. So eventually I went on to Google and I was like, is the MLB app down? And then all of a sudden it all popped up. Yeah, we're having problems. Thousands of people were reporting outages with the MLB app. So it took them probably, I think the game was joined around the third inning. Yeah, about the third inning of the opener. So they got the problem fixed by the third inning of the Phillies game. For our trouble, Major League Baseball sent us all the subscription holders a $25 Pro Shop gift certificate, which I'm $25 is $25. You can get a hat for that. So I'm not poo-pooing that, but I'm paying big money to watch all these games, and on the one day of the year that we expected to work, it didn't. I mean, it was pretty disheartening. So I'm cautiously optimistic that Thursday everything will be fine, but I don't think it'll be an issue. But yeah, I mean, it's so much more than just opening day of a season, right? It's just so much more. It's everything that's good about this country. It's everything that's good about this game. It's everything that's good about the national pastime that is baseball. To celebrate it around the country, and it also marks for me the beginning of the good time of the year. I hate winter. I hate early spring. I hate this time of the year. I can't stand it. It's cold. It's disgusting out. It just doesn't look pretty outside. But starting on Thursday is the beginning of the fun time, because better days are coming. And then, you get to the summer, and that's the great time. And then from the summer, you get into the early fall, and that's, football. And then you get into the holidays. I mean, it's just all one after another. This is the greatest time of the year for me. And I'm looking forward to celebrating it again this Thursday with the Phillies and the Rangers. But what Bruce is saying here is sort of what part of the show is for tonight. All right. So Bruce is saying he's excited for the Phillies. I feel it should be an American, and as American invented baseball, and we love baseball, it also outside after long. Yeah, I agree. It should be a national holiday. But I'm going to get back to Bruce's comment about being excited about the Phillies. So without putting aside the long winter, putting aside people's natural love for the game of baseball, putting aside all of that, why are you excited for the Phillies in 2026? That's the question of the night. I want to know why you're excited, and what are the expectations of this baseball team, and why do you have those expectations? Because we see it time in and time again. And again, we did a 2-hour show on Sunday. Great show. And again, I want to thank Al and Mike for giving me 2 hours of their Sunday afternoon. And as I was listening, and I was purposely taking, because I was the host, so I was taking more of a middle of the road approach. As much as I can take in a middle of a road approach, I was taking that on Sunday, because I was sort of the facilitator of the conversation. I wasn't going to, I was going to try not to interject too much of me into it. I wanted them to kind of have their dime on this. And what I sat there and I listened to, as expected, all right, we're two homers talking like all is forgiven, essentially, and that somehow this team has found the secret recipe for success. Mike Lowry even picked the Phillies to win the World Series. I don't know where he's basing that off of. I have no idea, because this is essentially the same team that's failed the last 4 years to win a World Series, and they're bringing back pretty much the same team. But yeah, he's going to pick them to win the World Series. Okay, that's great. But all the reasons that he gave me were typical Mike Lauro and Big Al homer reasons, right? Al started going into the mystical land of psychologically, talking about the psychic around involved, where the vibes are going to be good, and change of scenery, and the second lunar eclipse of the sun as it passes through the fourth moon of Jupiter, all that nonsense. He started kind of going down the road of. Mike was dying on the hill that the addition of Adolis Garcia and the infusion of some Justin Crawford and Andrew Painter was going to be the missing formula to push them over the top in 2026. And again, I'm not going to. I was very middle of the road, and I was letting them talk, and I agree with some of it, but I want to know again from the assembled people out there, the excitement is real, and I validate it. It's very real. It's the beginning of the baseball season. It's the beginning of the Philly season. It's the beginning of the best time of the year. But what are the expectations that you have for the Phillies? And why do you have those expectations? Mind you, keeping in perspective that this is the same team that's failed in 25, that's failed in 24, that's failed in 23, and that's failed in 22. Keeping that perspective, because that's not hate talk. That's real talk. This is the same team. And what I mean by the same team, it's the same core. It's the same players that we've relied on year after year and that have come up short year after year. What is different about them this year? I predicted a trip back to the NLCS. I think they'll win a playoff series or two next year. I'm not predicting them to win the World Series. I'm not even predicting them to get to the World Series, because I don't necessarily believe in the DNA of this baseball team as of today. I don't. Hopefully, with some of the moves they've made, that DNA begins to change. But as I sit here in late March, getting ready to start the season, I can't talk myself into them winning a World Series. I can't. Because it's the same team that's failed year after year after year after year, with minor changes involved. You know, replace this guy for this guy, insert that guy for this guy. You know, go from Ranger Suarez to an unknown pitching prospect. There's just a little too much there for me to throw all my chips in the middle of the table and say World Series. Now, I do agree with Al when he said, and a lot of people say, it's World Series or bust. Because this is what this team is built for. This team is built as a World Series or bust team. So anything short of a World Series appearance, in a lot of people's eyes, will be a bust. I say short of winning the World Series is a bust. But legitimately, what are the expectations of this baseball team based on what you have seen from this team? Because normally you could sit here and try to tell me, MattyB, you're crazy. How can you say from one year to the next what a team is going to look like based on the year prior? There's too much parity out there. There's too much change that goes on in the offseason. And normally I would agree with you. But not with this team. Not with the Phillies. As I flip my pen. Not with the Phillies. They haven't changed significantly enough. They're bringing back the same core of players. So the question I'm going to throw back, because it's going to lead us. We're getting there. We're going to bring it up a billion times from now to the end of the season. The same old Phillies, the same old home run or bust Phillies, the same old can't move a runner over to save your life Phillies, the same old can't lay down a sacrifice bunt, same old Phillies, the same old can we get a sac fly, just one? Can you hit a sac fly? Can you hit the ball to the other field just once to move somebody over? Same old Phillies. That conversation is going to be had again and again and again. What makes this different? Wait, Joe Hale's checking in. Joe, how you doing? Bruce says, MattyB, I can say why. Okay, here we go. Sanchez, Nola, Wheeler, Painter, Duran, Trey, Crawford, and hopefully Bryce, if he can stop being a baby, is why I'm so excited. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Now let's try to break this apart. Sanchez has been on a not mediocre rise, but he's been on a rise since 2024, right? Solid 24. Had a blast of a 25, right? I mean, he stepped it up to another level in 2025, 100%. Earned himself that ace-like payday, right? Earned himself the title of de facto ace until Wheeler gets back, correct? I'll give you that. He also got lit up in the WBC. Finished the WBC with about a 13.45 ERA in 2 starts. Spring training starts, yes. Right? Not saying you shouldn't be excited about Sanchez. But can Sanchez continue this? Phillies think they can by giving him the money. But is Sanchez going to continue to pitch at the ace level? It has been known to happen quite a bit in Major League Baseball, where one pitcher performs a certain way one year and he doesn't necessarily replicate it again the next. Not saying that's what's going to happen to Sanchez, but we have one season of elite level pitching to base our expectations and hope off of Christopher Sanchez. He has not sustained it over any period of time. He hasn't done it like Paul Skeens has or Tariq Skubal has. He hasn't done that. Now, granted, it's because he just started this. I get you. And 24 was a very solid year. He went from a 5 to probably a 3 in 24. And in 25, he went from a 3 to a 1. So, yes, very substantial improvements along the way. There's a lot to be excited there, but there's nothing really to say it's a lock, right? He could struggle. He could come out, not have a good year. He could kind of plummet back down to earth. But yes, Sanchez is somebody you should be excited about. Aaron Nola, you're excited for a guy that finished last season with over 6 ERA, who really had velocity problems, command issues, lack of confidence about throwing any kind of breaking stuff. And then as the season wore on and we got to the postseason, we started seeing the Aaron Nola of old kind of returning to form. And then he pitched very well in the WBC in his 2 starts. Does Aaron Nola have a bounce back? I know he's got a history of bouncing back after one subpar year to the next. I get that. Are you looking at Aaron Nola to bounce back? Is it a legitimate look at? Yeah, of course it is. It's a very legitimate ask to see if Aaron Nola, that he will bounce back. I will give you that. Andrew Painter, what are you basing any of this off of? Tell me, Bruce, what Andrew Painter has done for you in his career to give you hope and excitement about, other than the fact that he's a prospect, he's an unknown, could go either way here, right? Duran came in like a lion last year. He freaking went out like a lamb. He kind of struggled down the stretch there, or down the back end of the season into the postseason. He wasn't throwing 103 in October. I can tell you that much. But a very competent closer. Trey Turner, very underrated, very underappreciated. Trey Turner. Until we can figure out how to balance this lineup correctly, he has done an outstanding job as the number 1 defending NL batting champion. Well, I think the errors were down to a career low last year. After they were kind of spiraling out of control, really kind of figured himself out. Can Trey Turner stay healthy again, though? Trey's been dealing with some injuries that have cost him significant time over the past 2 seasons. Can he avoid that problem in 2026? But absolutely. Trey Turner gives you a lot of hope in that leadoff spot. Justin Crawford, refer back to the Andrew Painter comments. And hopefully Bryce, if he can stop being a baby, why I'm so excited. Listen, Bruce, I'm not saying you're wrong about your excitement, but I am going to kind of hit you a little bit on why you're excited about these types of players. When we've talked about a lot of the uncertainty of a lot of them, we've talked about a lot of the newness of some of them, we've talked about a lot of the faults of others. Listen, it's a solid team. I'll give you that. But is it a world's? When you're pinning your hopes on a rookie in your lineup, a rookie in your starting rotation, another kind of revamped bullpen, you're hoping that your former number 2 returns to form. You're hoping your former number 3 continues to pitch like an ace. You're hoping that you can get a retread like Garcia, that he can bounce back and have something similar to what he was in 2023. You're hoping this, you're hoping that, you're praying that this happens, you're praying that that happens. Are the Los Angeles Dodgers doing that? Are the Los Angeles Dodgers going out there and saying, man, I hope Shohei Ohtani can still hit 45 home runs. I hope that Yamamoto can still pitch like an ace. I hope Freddie Freeman can still give me 25 to 30 home runs. I hope Mickey Betts is healthy. I guess they're probably saying that. But are the Dodgers going up and down their lineup with a lot of high hopes? And if this guy bounces back, is there a lot of that talk going on about the Los Angeles Dodgers and their lineup? Is there a lot of talk about that maybe with the Toronto Blue Jays and their lineup? Right? I understand what you mean, and I'm not talking about the Phillies being a 60-win team and losing over 100 games. I'm not saying that. But I'm telling you, and I'm asking you, is this what a World Series contending team supposed to look like before the season? Are these the types of questions we're supposed to be talking about a team that's allegedly a World Series contender 2 days before the season starts? And maybe our expectations are misplaced. Maybe our expectations are misguided. Perhaps we should be looking at this more realistically. Perhaps we should be taking it one day at a time, one pitch at a time, one inning at a time, whatever. So again, what are the expectations? Bruce, is your expectation a World Series? MattyB, I am mainly only worried as I don't feel Thompson is a good manager. And if Bryce acts like a baby, we could have big problems. But now we have a new start, and we also have Crawford now. Okay. We have a new start. But new start. What do they say? Same circus, different clowns. I mean, it's the same circus, different clowns, man. I bet you I could probably replay this, Bruce. I could take this comment, go back in time, and show it in 25, show it in 24, show it in 23. And we would be like, yeah, okay, I'm buying in on that. At what point does this comment end with this group of Phillies players? At what point do we come to the realization that this is just not good enough, that they're not good enough, that they are a collection of very good players that don't mesh well together? And for whatever reason, this management team has failed to provide them any complementary players around them. At what point do we start saying that? Or do we constantly go into every year saying the same things? And how much more evidence do people need to see? I mean, 22, 23, 24, 4 straight postseasons of regression. I mean, 22, they went to the World Series, but they've regressed every step of the way. How much more of that do we need to see to understand or say, as a fan base, this is not good enough? And again, I'm not trying to rain on your parade, because everything you say is correct. You should be excited. It's a new season. It's a new start. But placing these hopes and dreams on Justin Crawford, who has played a grand total of 0 Major League Baseball games, placing your hopes and dreams and World Series aspirations upon Andrew Painter, who has pitched a grand total of 0.00 Major League Baseball innings, it might be a little misguided, and it might not be fair on the player. I mean, is it realistic to expect Justin Crawford to be that much of a contributor to this team in his rookie year? Is it fair? I'm not saying it's not possible, and I'm not saying it's not what you should think, but is it fair to put all your hopes and dreams in the Justin Crawford basket while forgetting about the Bryson Stotts of the world, the Bryce, or the not the Harpers, but the Alec Bohms of the world, and putting all this pressure on Justin Crawford? I mean, that's a little unrealistic, don't you think? That's not fair either. Crawford deserves his time to figure things out. I don't think Crawford's going to bust in here like Ricky Henderson, right? He may go through a little bit of an 0 for 50, right? He may have problems of acclimating to the MLB game. We got to be patient with him. It may take him 3/4 of the season to figure himself out. Painter might come in and get shellacked night after night, week after week, until he figures himself out. Do we have that time? Can we as a franchise be that patient with them? Because we're World Series or bust. Do we give them that opportunity to figure themselves out? Because I guarantee you, if Andrew Painter was pitching for the Rockies, he could be posting a 25.04 ERA and still get the ball every 5th day. Do the Phillies have that kind of patience with Andrew Painter? Or do they pull a plug on him potentially too soon because of World Series aspirations? And how fair is it to place those expectations upon Andrew Painter, right? It's completely fair to place those expectations around Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber, 100%, and the rest of them. But to me, it's a little flimsy that we're pinning our hopes and dreams on Justin Crawford. Most call them Carl Crawford again. What's going on, man? How you doing? Are the phone lines open? I'm going to see, Joe. I'm not sure. I got to get in a lot, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do phones tonight, but I'll think about it. I feel you're right about Painter, but I'm just hoping he can be as good because we need him to be a top pitcher, and I feel he has great skill, but we can only hope this is his first year. But again, is the hopes of him being a top pitcher, is that fair for a World Series roster? Should those expectations, shouldn't Painter be put in a rotation where, you know what, you're the 5th? Whatever you can give us, and we'll appreciate every little bit. But you're saying he's got to be a top pitcher right out the gate in his rookie year. Is that unfair? And what do we do to his development if it doesn't work out? I'm just saying, we have World Series aspirations, but we're putting a lot of hopes and dreams on some young, unproven players. And is that what World Series teams do? Are these the conversations the Dodgers are having about their players? They're not, right? But hope springs eternal. Ellis, how you doing? I hope we can win the World Series, but I feel we should at least win the NL East. Bruce, listen, winning the NL East, winning the NLCS, winning the wild card, all that is like filler, man. All that's fodder, dude. It's all about, Bruce, we're about to enter, and I don't remember it offhand. I think this is the 145th year of Phillies baseball, right? Whatever 1883 to 2026 is. Whoever's out there doing the math, tell me how many years that is. I think it's 145 or 146, somewhere around there. 145 to 146 years of Phillies baseball. This season, it's about to start. We have 2 world championships in 145, 146 years. 2. I want to put this in some perspective for you. The Marlins, who were born in 1993, currently have 2 World Series championships under their belt. All right? Put that into some perspective. Okay? The Miami Marlins, who were born in 1993, have as many World Series championships under their belt as the Phillies, who were born in 1883. So, and I'm not obviously blaming this on Rob Thompson or Dave Dombrowski, right? I get that. But winning the NL East, winning the NLCS, winning the wild card, that ship has sailed for me eons ago. Okay? We need rings, goddammit. And then again, put it in some context. The Yankees, who I think were born in the late 1800s, like the 1890s, currently have 27 world championships under their belt. 27 to our 2. Put that in some perspective about winning the NL East, right? About winning the NLCS. No, goddammit, it's about winning World Series. And is this team capable of doing that? Maybe it should be a new manager, as Thompson doesn't try to play enough small ball, and that is a big mistake when we have players like Trey. Yeah, but Trey Turner can't play small ball by himself. And Bryce Harper, it's not fair to ask Bryce Harper to play small ball. It's not fair. That's not what Bryce Harper is. It's not fair to ask Kyle Schwarber to lay down a bunt. You shouldn't have to ask Kyle Schwarber to lay down a bunt. If Kyle Schwarber was batting in the 4-hole like he's supposed to, that conversation shouldn't come up. The conversation about small ball has never been about Bryce, never been about Schwarber. And to a certain extent, it's never been about JT Realmuto. They're power hitters. And I guess now you can toss Garcia into the conversation. They're power hitters. The conversation about the lack of small ball comes from the Stotts, the Bohms, when he was here, the Castellanoses. It comes from those players who have a lack of interest in playing small ball, right? Bunt is a what? B-U-N. Bunt is a 4-letter word, but it's not that 4-letter word. But around this town, bunting is a 4-letter word, a bad way. This team is predictable in the way they approach their bats. They're very predictable, and they all have the same approach. I never see anybody shorten up. I never really do. So listen, you need the player. You need a Harper, a Schwarber in your lineup. You need those guys. You need those power bats. But I don't need a power bat Al Bohm. No, I need a contact hitter Al Bohm. I don't need a power bat Bryson Stott, even though he's batting 5th. I don't need a power bat Bryson Stott. I need Bryson Stott to be laying bunts down in the 5-hole. Yeah, I want to see him do that. Runners on 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Bryson Stott laying down a bunt. You're batting 5th. But that's what I need to see, right? I need to see Brandon Marsh. Well, 1, he needs to figure out how to hit left-handers. And 2, he needs to lay some bunts down, right? Sack fly. Hit it to the other side. I don't care what Bryce and Schwarber do. Go up there and do what you do. it's magnified about the struggles of Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper's struggles are magnified on this team because there's nobody picking anybody else up around here, right? Because we go into every game with the ability to hit and hopefully out home run our opponent, right? So every time Bryce Harper strikes out, it's magnified, right? Every time Bryce Harper swings at one on the dirt, it's magnified. Every time Schwarber does it, it's magnified because there's absolutely nothing else happening around them, right? We're not playing any sort of strategic baseball other than what Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber do. Now, you're right about the small ball aspect of it, right? You're absolutely right about that. And I don't know if that's going to change with Crawford, but I did mention that I think Crawford's a step in the right direction. I do. I think Crawford's a step in that right direction of trying to turn the small ball situation, change the dynamic of this lineup, change the dynamic of how they're going to approach their at-bats, and maybe put a situation where they, someone's got to actually, pick somebody up on third base with 2 outs and not try to hit a home run. Maybe that changes. Maybe they get tired of watching Crawford standing on third base saying, is somebody going to pick him up? And they change their approach. I don't know, but I'm not concerned about Bryce Harper and I'm not concerned about Kyle Schwarber. They is what they is. That's okay. And then they were brought here because of their purpose in life, right? It's the other players. And I don't want them to be all-stars. I don't need Alec Bohm to be an all-star, Bryson Stott to be an all-star. I don't. I need them to be baseball players. Actual, knowledgeable baseball players who know this game and can approach an at-bat like a baseball player. I don't care if Bryson Stott bats 240. Well, I care if he's batting in the 5th hole, batting 240. I care about that. But on a normal lineup with a normal manager, you'd be batting down 7 or 8. And if he bats 240, fine by me. Just as long as he's getting on base. Walk, hit by pitch, bunt, something else. Right? I don't care that Bryson Stott doesn't hit home runs. I don't care that Alec Bohm doesn't hit home runs. I don't care that Justin Crawford hits home runs. I don't even care if Trey Turner hits home runs. Right? I don't. I care about Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber hitting home runs. And that's it. Everybody else, don't hit any home runs. Just get on base. Just get on base. Do your job, kid. That's all I care about. Problem is, we have a different philosophy here, right? We're going to score 13 runs in one game and hit 6 home runs, and then we're going to score 5 runs over the course of the next 6 games. That's what we do here, right? So, and trust me, I'm not taking Rob Thompson off the hook. I blew a gasket yesterday when I saw that potential opening day lineup. And I'm still waiting to see if he actually has the friggin' stones to go through with it. JT's batting 8th. Bryson Stott's batting 5th. And listen, and I guess I can't blame Bryson Stott. Because if Rob Thompson or my manager came up to me and said, MattyB, you're going to bat 5th in my lineup. Huh? Rob, I haven't hit 25 career home runs. What are you putting me in the 5 hole for? I got confidence in you, kid. We know what that's going to do to me. That's going to turn me into mentally at least, a home run hitter. I'm not physically a home run hitter, and I never will be, but maybe mentally, because Rob Thompson has all this faith and confidence in me to put me in the 5 hole, I'm going to turn myself into a home run hitter. And I'm going to end up batting 111 with about 89 strikeouts. 75 hits and about 25 RBIs because my manager had so much faith and confidence in me to stick me in the 5 hole because he thought I was a power hitter. And there's something to that. There's absolutely something to the Rob Thompson effect. Tomorrow, yes, I can open the lines tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to get to the phones tonight because still got to do the post game. How many wins for the Phillies this season? I've said this over the course of the past week. It doesn't matter to me. Whatever it takes to get into the playoffs. If it takes 81 wins, 81's fine by me. If it takes 85, fine by me. If it takes 90, fine by me. I don't put any stock in 100 wins. I don't care. Whatever it takes to get to the playoffs. My expectation is not wins. It's World Series. And whatever you got to do in order to get into the tournament, into the dance, so to speak, fine. So I'm not really going to put a number on it. I'm not. I'll put the number of whatever they need to do to get to the playoffs as the 6th seed or 7th seed, I guess. Right? I don't really care. I'm not being fair to Painter and Crawford, but I won't be mad if they aren't greats as they are young. I mean, I don't think you would be mad, but again, it's not. To me, it's not about being mad or being upset or being happy or being sad or being toxic or being positive. No, it's just about being real. Of course, I hope for all the best of Andrew Painter and Justin Crawford. But my point of this whole conversation is, aren't we asking a lot? We're putting a lot on two players that have played a grand total between the two of them of 0 games in Major League Baseball. Aren't we giving them, we're as Michael Kaepernick would like to do, is throw them into the fire because that's what they are and they're athletes. And yes, but aren't we asking a lot of like hope is pinned on their sleeve, maybe unrealistically. And if they struggle, I mean, I don't want to think that Justin Crawford and Andrew Painter's struggle is going to, if that ends our season, then then obviously we didn't do the right thing by preparing this team correctly. Joe says 142 seasons. All right, that sounds kind of close. So George Steinbrenner tried to by the Cleveland Indians before he brought the Yankees. What? Will the phone lines be open? Probably not, Kaepernick. Not tonight. I still got to do post game. I'm already coming up on an hour, so we'll get to the phones tomorrow. I'm sorry. Got to try to maneuver a few different things in here. So I got clear of the ice duty tonight, so I'm probably going to transition right to that. 1 Turner, 1 Turner, Harper, Schwarber, Garcia, Bohm, Marsh, Stott, Crawford. This would be my lineup. Yeah, I mean, wait. So you got JT batting behind Marsh? Is that because of the lefty-righty thing? Wait. I don't know. I guess JT's a wild card in all this, too. No one's expecting much from him offensively. Maybe if he gives you something more offensively, you can do a little bit more with this lineup. But yeah, I mean, I'm okay with this. It checks all the boxes. Checks all the boxes for a very unstructured team. It's not the greatest lineup in the world. There is no such thing as the greatest lineup in the world for this team. That's a fallacy because it's a bunch of square pegs trying to be fit in the round holes. But we now have Trey and Crawford and Stott should be able to play small ball and maybe Bohm too. Okay. Bruce, again, I'm not disputing you, but Bryson Stott is currently your 5th hole hitter. Are we asking our number 5 hole hitter to play small ball? Are you asking your 5 hole hitter to lay down a bunt? Is that what you want him to do? I'm not saying you're wrong. And obviously I'm saying that Stott doesn't belong in the 5 hole. But it would be interesting if Stott gets up at bat with runners on base as the 5 hole hitter and lays down a bunt. Very interesting. I mean, do you understand what I'm trying to say here? I get it. Stott should be playing small ball. But your manager, Rob Thompson, has awarded Bryson Stott with the 5th hole. And what is that going to do to Bryson? Bryson Stott's not thinking small ball batting 5th. No, man. Home run. I hear what you're saying, though. You're right. They should be playing small ball. But if I'm asking my number 5 hole hitter to lay down a bunt, we got problems beyond what we think we do. And again, you're right. It's a testament that Bryson Stott should not be batting 5th. I agree with you. Trey, Crawford, yeah, these are all those types of players. And maybe Bowman, but I wish we would have signed Bichette. Yeah, Bichette would have been nice. Bichette would have at least answered the question at the number 2 spot. But in this idiot, Thompson, probably be batting them 7th. But Bichette would have given us a solid number 2. We really could have balanced the lineup a little bit better. You're right about that. But am I asking Bryson Stott to lay down bunts in the 5 hole or play small ball as my 5th hole hitter? That's my point. That's all my point is. So the expectations are, I guess, World Series or bust. Is that what I'm? No one's actually said it though. I haven't got any World Series or bust expectations yet. What are your expectations? It should be World Series or bust. With the money that's invested, the time that's invested, the blood, sweat, and tears that I've provided over the last 4 years, it should be World Series or bust. Are we afraid to say that? Do people not believe that? As I hear a lot of talk about winning the NL East, a lot of talk about winning the NLCS, a lot of 95, 96 wins, 90 wins. No one's talking about the big cucumber, the grand poobah, the trophy, the chip. No one's talking about that. Why not? What are your expectations? And if those expectations are legitimate, that you feel they're a division winner, if you feel that they're a pennant winner, if you feel that they're a wild card team, are you being bamboozled by the Phillies? Are you being bamboozled by a team that's spending a lot of money on not having a realistic expectation to win a World Series? I'm not saying you're wrong not to have that expectation. We've been down this road before, and it has not worked for 4 straight years, and we're bringing back the same team. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm asking if it's right that you should feel that way. If you don't go to bed at night, and this is a legitimate question or a legitimate statement, if you don't go to bed at night thinking in your mind the Phillies are a legitimate World Series contender, then there's something wrong with the Phillies. Not you, but the Phillies. Because you're not wrong to have those thoughts. But here we are. Less than 24 hours before the actual start of the season, a little bit short of 48 hours before the Phillies start. Getting excited. Talking about how great of a ride it's going to be. To be let down again. So if your expectations are not to win a World Series, I'm not saying you're wrong. But I'm asking, is it right not to feel that way about this team and about the investments that this team has made? I think it's a legitimate question. And I feel you. I'm on the same boat. The only person that I've heard say the Phillies win a World Series is Lauro. He said they're going to win the World Series. But then again, Homer is what a homer is. I don't know how much I can take from that. But when I ask Mike, what are your reasoning around it? He gives me the same thing that you guys are giving me. But he throws Garcia in there too. He gives me the same thing. Listen, I'm okay, as I've said, about the way the offseason went. I really am. I wanted young players. Maybe I wanted a little bit more young players, but I wanted young players. Rome's not built in a day. I understand that. And the way these contracts are stacked up with some of these players, you can't just move off of a Bryce Harper. And those of you out there who think that if this doesn't work this year, that the Phillies are going to wave a magic wand in 2027 and Bryce Harper is going to disappear, I don't understand what planet you're on. All right? Bryce Harper is not going anywhere unless Bryce Harper wants to go somewhere. Kyle Schwarber certainly isn't going anywhere. He just signed a 5-year contract. JT's under contract for 2 more years after this. So for those of you who think that this is the last, hurrah for this core of Phillies players, I think you're dead wrong. They're all under long-term contracts. How could that be the last hurrah? Do you think someone's going to take JT Realmuto off your hands for 2 years and over $20 million? No. Do you think someone's taking Bryce Harper in his remaining 7 years? No. 4 years of Schwarber at $120 million? No. No one's taking them contracts. So to think that this is it, this is the last hurrah, and we're going to make these magical changes at the end of the year, what are you talking about? Show me that matrix. I want to see that. I want to see how that works out. Because it's not going to happen. We're stuck with this group for at least 3 years, I would say. At least 3 more years. You're stuck with Turner, Harper, and Schwarber. At least 3. Then maybe sometime in 2029, we can maybe start talking about getting out from underneath some of these contracts. But it ain't happening next year. This is the Phillies for at least 3 more years, not including this year. Have they done enough? I don't know. Hey, now we have Trey Robert. Stott should be able to. Oh, yeah, that one. I am saying Stott has no reason to be batting 5th in the Phillies lineup. The mumbling buffoon Robbie should have been fired 3 years ago. Yeah, I think we're in agreement to that, Peppernick. On paper, the Phillies are World Series or bust, but in my world, 3rd place. I don't say 3rd place. I don't have that much faith and confidence in the NL East either. This is a 2-team race, this division. If the Braves can ever leave the hospital ward or get out of the hospital at some point, maybe we can talk Braves being a legitimate threat. But until they can figure out what the hell's going on in Atlanta and why nobody can stay healthy ever, unless, as you alluded to in the past, they have a great farm system and they can continue to take players from Gwinnett and bring them on up to major league level and start to excel. Oh, yeah, by the way, a little public service announcement. Joe Hale, this involves you. Zach Wheeler's not pitching until Saturday. I hope you know that. They made that announcement today, which contradicted what John Clark said yesterday by saying Wheeler was pitching Friday. So I know you got tickets to that game Friday. But they said Zach Wheeler's not pitching until Saturday. 3 innings they're going to give him 3 innings up in Lehigh. But and with that being said, along the lines of the Iron Pigs, the Phillies announced today, or the Iron Pigs announced their roster. Let's go over it real quick because I'd like talking about minor league baseball. Genesis Cabrera, who the Phillies picked up as a free agent over the offseason, made the team. Gene Cabrera, a young, very, very good prospect, tore up Double-A last year. Tore it up. He's getting obviously promoted up to Triple-A, which I figured that was going to happen. Ryan Kuzik, Tucker Davidson, Connor Gillespie, Jonathan Hernandez, Nolan Hoffman, Seth Johnson, the newly arrived and reminted Griff McGarry, as he was returned back to the Phillies today, was announced to the Iron Pigs roster. Alan Rangel, Trevor Richards, Chase Shugart, Lou Trevino, Andrew Whaling, Bryce Wilson are your pitchers that the Iron Pigs will have. Your catchers are Paul McIntosh, Renee Pinto, and Caleb Ricketts. One player of these catchers is a homegrown prospect, and that's Caleb Ricketts. The other guys are career minor leaguers. Your infielders are Christian Cairo, Carter Kiboom, who we didn't talk about. The Phillies added him this week. Robert Moore, Lovero Pagero. Your outfielders are Brian De La Cruz, Cade Fargas, Pedro Leon, and Felix Reyes. And Aiden Miller and Gabriel Raconis Jr. will start the season on IL. So that's your Iron Pigs breakout roster, I guess. I got tickets to all 3 games. Oh, I'm glad, because when I saw that today, I was like, oh no, Joe Hale. You got tickets for Friday and Zach Wheeler's not pitching. Well, I guess it makes sense if you think about the pomp and circumstance around opening day. Why would they throw Zach Wheeler out there on opening day after all that? I mean, let the dust settle a little bit and bring him out on the second game. But again, for those of you that are in the Lehigh Valley, Allentown area who want to take a trip on Saturday or Friday or Sunday, the Pigs will be home to start their 2026 season against the Toledo Mudhens. And Zach Wheeler will pitch on Saturday, 3 innings, as he gets his rehab assignment. So that's good news for the Phillies in the long term. But all right, so listen, it is we are over an hour. I got to transition here because we got to talk some Flyers. So let's do the magic of TV here. I am going to say goodnight on the final word, but don't go anywhere because I'll be right back with some clear the ice action here. Actually, let me do something real quick. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared. Not prepared, man. But we're going to transition as soon as we can. There we go. Now I'm prepared. So we're going to take about a 40-second pause, and we're going to come back with some clear the ice. We're going to talk Flyers, Blue Jackets. So don't go anywhere. Don't change that dial because I'll be right back. So we're back. Clear the Ice is now on the air. Welcome to the Clear the Ice, a Flyers post-game show. As Joe Hale says, he's got $25 tickets for all 3 games, each $25 a piece. Pretty good deal. Again, it's cheap, reasonable. All right, we're going to talk some Flyers hockey tonight down at the arena. The Flyers fell at the hands of the Columbus Blue Jackets in a game that they desperately needed to win. And a very lethargic offensive game for the Flyers tonight. Coupled with a few defensive breakdowns in this hockey game led to their demise at the hands of a team that's chasing. The Flyers, they were valiant at the end there with 5 minutes left. They battled back from a 3-1 deficit to get it close to 3-2, but some bad penalties at the end of the game just sort of kind of, cut them off at the kneecaps, and the Flyers fell tonight 3-2, sucking a lot of the wind out of their playoff balloon. And, again, as you already know from my standpoint, I know there's an outside shot that they're going to get in, and I know there's going to be meaningful hockey in April, and I'm all down for that. But tonight was a game that was pretty important for me, and not to say that the season's over. It isn't, but they made their journey up the hill a little bit more tougher tonight with that loss. So let's get into some of the numbers and some of the things that made this thing go round and round tonight down at the arena. We'll handle some administrative stuff as we always do on the post-game show. Columbus went without tonight. Miles Wood, Jake Christensen, Igor Zamula not in uniform tonight for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and Dmitry Varnarov for the Flyers. Garrett Wilson, Emil Andre, and Nikita Gerbenkin were the healthy scratch / non-availables tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers. In net for the Flyers, you had your boy Dan Vladar, who had himself a solid game. Dan played well. That little fluky goal there at the end, which ended up being the, difference in the game. I'm not really blaming him. That was a weird shot from a weird angle. That took a weird bounce. Vladar faced 19 shots and finishes the day with an 8.842 save percentage. Yes, 19 shots is not a lot of work, and you would expect a little bit more from that. But as I mentioned, the defense did not give Dan Vladar much support tonight, as they let some really bad breakdowns happen in front of him. For the Blue Jackets, Grievous got to start 26 saves, 26 shots faced, and a .923 goal save percentage for him on this game. Let's move into this. Let's talk some Flyers. Blue Jackets. The Flyers would get things rolling in the positive direction tonight, as a unicorn was spotted down at the arena. Sean Couturier with his 8th goal of the year from Glendening and Ristolainen at the 17:07 mark, back end of the first period, to give the Flyers a shot in the arm in that 1-0 lead heading into the first intermission. But then it would all kind of crumble away for the Flyers in a span of about a minute and 30 seconds. First from Matej Oliver, his 15th from Zorinsky and Severson to get it 1-1 at 44 seconds into the second period. You never want to give him up in the beginning of the periods. And then a goal that just made my head hurt. Zach Werenski. Okay, there's a couple, and we've talked about certain players and how you're supposed to go against certain players when you face them. Zach Werenski is one of those players that you should be keeping an eye on when he's on the ice. I mean, not to mention the fact that he's a gold medalist for in hockey as an Olympian. But he was given an opportunity to literally skate right into the slot and have an open shot in front of Dan Vladar and smoke Vladar with this wrist shot to give the Blue Jackets a 2-1 lead. And again, it was about a minute and 45 seconds of goaltending or goal scoring, flurriness by the Blue Jackets to put them ahead in this game. Servicing got the assist along with Marchment, and that was what your score was, 2-1, heading into the third period, where Marchment with his 17th goal at 4:38 to give the Blue Jackets a 3-1 lead. And that was the funky goal that changed directions a couple times, went beyond Vladar, then popped right back out. There was some question of whether or not it was a goal. Play continued on for a few minutes. They stopped play, reviewed it, found it to be a good goal, reset the clock, and did everything they had to do in that game. But the Flyers weren't done, as Jamie Drysdale, his 8th from Zegras and Dvorak at 17:56, got the score down to 3-2, but the Flyers just did not have enough tonight, as their offense only mustered 26 shots on the night, which was more than what the Blue Jackets mustered, 19. So when you have a situation like that where you kind of outshoot a team and you hold your opponent under 20 shots a game at the NHL level, you got to look at a couple things. One, you're looking at your goaltending. As I said, Vladar played well. He did. I'm not going to give, 3 goals is 3 goals, yes, but he played well. He played well enough. The defense did not play well in front of him. Some massive breakdowns all night long. Ristolainen was involved in a couple of them. What's his face was Sanheim. The usual suspects were involved in some breakdowns in front of him, not really giving him much of an opportunity. Flyers were 0 for 1 on the power play. But on a positive note, the Flyers were 2 for 2 shorthanded killing penalties, man. That's positive, as Columbus went 0 for 2 on their power play. Flyers took the puck away 3 times, gave it away 14. Columbus took the puck away 8 times, gave it away 15. Flyers block 11, Columbus blocks 10. And all of that equals to a 3-2 Flyer loss and a game where they needed to win. We need points in every single game, goddammit. It's not hard to wish for that. It's not hard to say that you got to get points in every single game. And the Flyers tonight failed miserably in a game where it's a must-win at this point of the season, right? Especially on this post-game show. We're on a week-to-week probationary period. They got to get points in order for this show to stay on the air. It's as simple as that. Tough loss by the Flyers tonight. At least all the playoff teams lost. Yeah, but Joe, we didn't make up any ground. Come on. When are we going to start understanding reality here? Coots had a good goal. Yes, his 8th. His 8th for our number 1 centerman. Is he still considered your number 1 centerman? I mean, he's really the only true centerman we have. I mean, I guess you can consider Dvorak one, but I mean, So the Flyers fall, stay at 80 points. As Joe said, all the teams that the Flyers are chasing, they lost. Well, the exception of one, the Blue Jackets, they won. 80 points now. Flyers are, I think, 11 games left on the season, and it's getting down to where it really, you just can't. You need points, man. You had to get that thing in overtime. You had to get a point out of that, and the Flyers failed to do so, and thus we are in the situation that we're in right now. So, Clear the Ice will return on Thursday night as a standalone show. We'll not be doing twofers on Thursdays. Mike Laurel will have you on Thursday, as I will have Phillies postgame, so I won't be doing my show or Flyers postgame. And then I'll be back as a standalone on Saturday night to do some Flyers Red Wings, and then Mike Laurel will be back on Sunday night to do a standalone for the Flyers and Stars. So there's your Clear the Ice schedule for the rest of the week. Make sure you're checking us out, as we're gonna take, as I said, the Flyers get a point. We keep this bad boy rolling. This post-game show will roll on another day if the Flyers get points in games. That's the deal. They go this week in the next 4 games and achieve no points, I'm going to have to make that hard decision to pull the plug, because if they don't get any points in the next 3 games, they're not making the playoffs. So they're really not. But there you have it. 3-2 losers tonight. The Flyers were down there at the arena, and that is it. We're going to wrap up the post-game show. Yep, rapid fire post-game. That happens like that when you're doing a twofer. When I'm back Saturday night, I am going to get back into breaking down goals, because I miss doing that. I really do miss breaking goals down. So we're going to start breaking goals down on Saturday night. I promise you that. But we'll have to wait till Saturday. So thank you for being part of the Clear the Ice program. Also, thank you for those that tuned in for the final word. We didn't do the Of the Night segment yet again. It's now becoming a thing here, right? Tomorrow we will get to the Of the Night. I will force myself to do the Of the Night. We'll get back to the card segment tomorrow night as well. The phone lines will reopen tomorrow as well, too. So never fear, we'll be back. It will be our final episode of the week, though, as I will not be here on Thursday doing the final word, and I will not be here Sunday doing the final word. So we will not be back until Monday after tomorrow night. So make sure you're making you're adjusting accordingly to that. So thank you, everybody. You guys have yourself a fan-damn-tastic night. We are less than 24 hours away from the start of the baseball season. Maybe a little bit over 24 hours away from the start of the Philly season. It's here, and we're ready for it. I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow night. Don't forget the Pittsburgh Sports Desk will be on tomorrow at 8, and I will follow them at 10. And then it all gets going for real on Thursday with a whole day's worth of Phillies action here on the network. So make sure you're tuned in and catch me and Al on the post game on Thursday afternoon. So until we talk again tomorrow night, you guys take care. I'm out of here.